I think what the educator brings when the educator really knows the child is that sense of, it's about intentional teaching. It's knowing when to get involved and how to get involved, whether it's a decision to let this child try to sort out this conflict he's having with another child over who had the truck first. It might be that kind of situation, or it might be letting her struggle with that fairly complex puzzle because you think that she will stick with it and she will be able to get it right and she'll have this wonderful sense of, I did it myself. It's making those kinds of judgments that support children's learning. So it comes from knowing the child really well, and it's different for each child.
It's very important that childhood educators make a big effort to get to know each child. They can't rely on the child telling them for a start, not with words anyway. They can rely on the child telling them about their likes and dislikes in other ways. But in order for the child to feel safe and secure and happy, then it's really important that each educator not only thinks about that child and gets to know that child, but also talks to the other educators about the child too. So when the child does something and needs some comfort and attention, educators will be there ready to provide it in a way that that child can accept it.
In order to get to know a child well, it's important to develop an understanding of the child in the context of their family, community and culture. The ability to support children is strengthened when they honour histories, culture, traditions, child-rearing practices and experiences of families. Establishing and maintaining relationships with families allows them to feel comfortable sharing information about their hopes and aspirations, their values and what they want for their child from the early childhood education and care service.
Forming relationships with children's families is probably one of the most important things that educators will do. I think if we think about the fact that families bring very small children into an early childhood education and care setting, these are, they are precious to them, and they come to a setting often not knowing exactly what will happen there, who you are, not quite clear about the way that things will occur. That part of the job of early childhood educators is to connect really fundamentally with a family in that beginning stage and work really hard over a period of time. And for some families it might take a long time, for other families you'll form an instant connection, but to work over time to build the sort of secure connection that will in turn support the way that you relate to the child.
There's a number of concepts or theories that we should hold in mind. For example, the neurobiological, pathological, physiological brain grow. But there's also, the systems that children live in and the partnerships that we need to form in order for those systems to come together. So there's family systems, community systems, the early childhood setting system. If we don't pay attention to those, there's a context that these children come to us from. The context is incredibly important because it helps to form the child's experience ecologically. So there's the other thing around, where is this child on their eco map, and who are the most important people and what are the most important things around them, and is the early years educator able to take those things into consideration when there's an entry point for that educator to work with that child.
So the nature of the relationship between a child and their parent really is worthwhile understanding for early educators so that they can get a sense of what that child might expect and to try and understand some of the way in which a child is relating to them. The relationship between parent and early educator is really important as well. So thinking about having a good relationship as an educator with the parents that you're working with. So really spending time wherever possible, getting to know what's important to them as parents and how they respond to their child and what their child likes, and getting a feel for that relationship will really assist in the educator's work and relationship with the child when they're providing care for them.